Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment would remove what I think is the ill-advised National Science Foundation directorate-level spending prescriptions from this authorization. As has already been discussed, there are a lot of problems with this bill. In fact, so many problems that the National Science Board, which advises the NSF, broke its traditional silence and issued a strong statement of opposition. The overall funding levels in the bill are too low. They barely keep up with inflation, and they've been criticized by almost every scientific society and research organization in the country. A one-year authorization will lead to increased turmoil and uncertainty, the exact opposite of all the recommendations we've received for stable and predictable support. And interference in the NSF grant process could limit flexibility and innovation, preventing the groundbreaking basic research NSF has historically delivered. However, the National Science Board singled out as its greatest concern the congressional interference in directorate-level spending. And here's the quote. I quote what they said. Our greatest concern is that the bill's specification of budget allocations to each NSF directorate would significantly impede NSF's flexibility to deploy its funds to support the best ideas in fulfillment of its mission to promote the progress of science, to advance the national health, prosperity, and welfare, and to secure the national defense and for other purposes. They are rightly concerned that Congress will not have the same insight as world-leading scientists in setting the NSF's agenda and determining where the most important basic science research lies. At the subcommittee, I emphasized the irrational attack on specific directorates, particularly social and behavioral sciences as well as geosciences, included in the first act. However, the precedent set by congressional meddling in directorate-level funding applies to all of NSF's research. A different majority might choose to cut engineering or math or biological science. Defining individual directorate funding levels also sets up a competition between disciplines that undermines the cross-boundary collaboration and innovation that competes promoted and that NSF has been advancing. And specifically, when you look at the biological sciences and physics and material sciences, more and more we are seeing cross-discipline efforts. This bill undercuts that advance, I think, to the detriment of our future. This amendment does not change the top-level funding. It doesn't put any more money into the bill. It only removes the directorate distinctions. It takes a small step forward towards a more sound NSF reauthorization, and I would urge its adoption. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we know, our colleague, Mr. Sensenbrenner, is dealing with a very severe family health situation, and our prayers are with him and his whole family at this time. I am pleased to offer this amendment on behalf of both of us. I am pleased that the Chairman has indicated a willingness to accept it. I will just say that in this technological era that we live in, we need to find new models that will allow the taxpayers funded research to become freely available to all who may benefit from it. And I think this is especially important for small scientists and small universities, inventors, and the like. This OSTP process that is underway is not everything I wanted, I'll say. I have a bill that is more expansive, but it's certainly something that I can accept, and Mr. Sensenbrenner's amendment incorporates it. I would like to yield to my colleague from Oregon, who I know had wanted to speak briefly in support of the amendment, so I would yield to Ms. Bonamici.